Welcome to Sukkos before Sukkos. We're in Perek Aleph, the first chapter of Sukkah. Mishnah Yud Aleph, the last Mishnah of the chapter. Mishnah Yud Aleph, Mishnah 11. It says the Mishnah, Ha'oisa Sukkosai kamin srif. If someone makes his sukkah like a kol, in other words, what he did was, he made the sukkah to come to a point that the walls and the covering is the same thing. There is no roof. But he made the walls out of material that is valid for schach. Or similar thing, he made a sukkah where there's a wall, and then another wall that goes straight to the leaning on the wall, so there's no roof. There's just a wall, and he's sitting under the wall, again valid schach. Rabbi Eliezer invalidates that sukkah mipnei she'ein lo gag, because it has no roof, and he maintains that a sukkah must have a roof of schach. This sukkah has no roof, it's just walls. V'chachamim machshirin, and the chachamim say it's kosher because it does have kosher schach, and he's sitting under kosher schach. Now the Mishnah turns to something which actually has very practical relevance nowadays, because you'll be familiar with the concept of a schach mat. And this is called a machzeles konim, a mat of reeds. In other words, it's a mat that's been tied together with something that's kosher for schach, and it's a cover made out of reeds. Now the question is, of course it grows from the ground, but is it makabel tumah? Is it susceptible to impurity? So the concept is this: if it was made for something to be used, like to lie on or to sit on, then it would render it a utensil and it would be susceptible to tumah. However, if it was just made for a blind or for shade, then that's not susceptible to tumah, and that in fact is kosher schach. So the Mishnah says the following: Machzeles konim gedola, a large reed mat, which the Gemara explains, according to this opinion, is normally made to use for shade, and therefore would be kosher. It would be a kosher schach. But if the person made it with the intention to lie down, intention makes a difference. The kabelas tumah, it is susceptible to impurity. Ve'ein mesachachim bo, and you cannot use it for schach. L'sichuch, if, let's say, as the Gemara explains as part of the Mishnah, if it was a small mat, which is normally made for reclining and would be susceptible to tumah, you wouldn't be able to use one that was just stam. However, it was designated for schach, then you can use it. Ve'enim mekabelas tumah, it's not susceptible to tumah. Rabbi Eliezer says, listen, it makes no difference. Achas ktana va'achas gdola, whether small or big, also l'shchiva, you have to find out. If it was made for lying down, mekabelas tumah, it's susceptible to impurity. Ve'ein mesachachim bo, you may not use it for schach. The sichuch, if it was made for schach, it was made for shade, to cover a hut for shade. Mesachachim bo, you could use it for schach. Ve'ein mekabelas tumah, and it does not receive any tumah, so it's not susceptible to impurity. Practically speaking, this is very relevant today, because you can buy shades and blinds in the store and you're not necessarily sure why it's been made, and one would have to investigate that. However, the minhag, the custom, the normative custom is that people do use mats for schach, but only normally use them with the hechsher, meaning that we are certain that it's been made for schach and it hasn't been made for any other use, and therefore it's not considered makabel tumah, it's not susceptible to impurity, and therefore may be used for the purposes of schach. Have a good day and a very good Shabbos.